The best time of year to remove moss from roof tiles is now or very soon. Now, this isn't a trick question. This obviously depends on your personal circumstances and financial situation as to whether you can actually hire a professional roof cleaner to come out to your property and clear and clean your roof and treat it. But from our professional perspective, as expert roofers, the best time to remove moss from roof tiles or any roofing structure is at the point of when you realize that it is a problem. And this is irrespective of the season. This isn't a trick question. How do we tackle a roof clean in the winter months? And like I've said, we work in all seasons, but there is a slight change in approach and things for us to consider. Number one being the days are shorter and there is often frost in the mornings. So we can't start at 8 a.m. None of our roofers can start at 8 a.m., for example. We can arrive on site at 8 a.m. if it's possible. But if it's dark, if it's frosty, that might not be something that we're able to do. You also need to think about it from the perspective of if it is frosty and it has been icy overnight and the moss has frozen in some way, the sun might not be actually going over the property onto the roof until mid to late morning. So the days really are shorter then, and we can't chisel it off because we'll just cause damage. So that's not something for you to consider, that's something for us to consider. Also, like I've said, and you don't need me to tell you, in Britain, depending where you are, I'm originally from Manchester up north, it rains a lot. It rains a lot. So even though we're all happy, and I really do mean that happy because we like to do our job, we like to earn money, we are happy to work in rain if it's raining. Obviously, we need to take into consideration health and safety when approaching the roof, and that's true in all seasons, all weather. Um, Part of the roof cleaning that we do is mostly a soft wash, so we can manually brush the roof tiles as long as they're not frozen with the moss and organic matter on there. However, when it comes to actually applying the treatment, which is often sodium or a biocide, we don't want it to wash straight off because that is literally money down the drain. It's not cheap anymore. In the last 2 years, I'm speaking here in 2024. In the last 2 years, the prices of sodium have fluctuated quite a lot, but they have gone up. Like everything else in our economy in our country, it has gone up. So we do not want to see sodium just washing off and not sticking to the tiles and going down the drain, because that's money down the drain from us and it reduces our profit. Also, we don't want you to call us in a few months and say the moss has come straight back, because that means the treatment hasn't worked, it hasn't stuck. That's the most likely thing. So what we want is we want it to be relatively dry on the roof tiles and not raining at that moment. Light drizzle shortly before, shortly after, probably not an issue. But at that moment, we want it to stick. To the roof tiles. So if you're a 1 day roof clean or a 2 day roof clean, it's almost always going to be in the afternoon when this happens, and it immediately follows up on the manual brush. So that's something for us to consider. You don't need to know these things, but I'm just trying to explain to you from your perspective and our perspective when is the best time of year to get your roof clean. So that's autumn and winter, what I call the wetter months, the colder months for roofing, when some roofers actually just don't work, which is fair enough. They try and earn as much money by doing back-to-back work in summer and spring, and then they take a break and think, no, I'm not dealing with any of this pressure or any of this stress, all these things outside of our control in the winter, like weather, dark, cold temperature, even traveling to and from a job. More accidents seem to happen in the winter on the roads. So there's all these things, all these extraneous variables that are just simply outside of our control, but we do not refuse work. We see it as an opportunity. And like I've said, from your perspective, if it's now autumn and winter when you're watching this video, you probably need to get your roof cleaned if you've already started noticing problems. You're kind of gambling if you're going to wait till next summer or next spring, even though you think it's a good idea. Excuse me, I see it as a gamble, but it's completely. After being in this industry for a few years, it's very obvious that people, customers, maybe yourself included, truly believe that the spring or summer is the best time of year to get your roof cleaned. Um, maybe not. From our perspective, yeah, it's easier. It's warmer. Stay hydrated. Wear sunscreen if it's a hot day. We're very exposed up on the roof. The treatment's not normally an issue. What I would say is you're still going to get rain in July. A couple of years ago, I'm sure we had the wettest May on record, so a lot of our roof cleans were postponed. April showers is still a very real thing. We still have thunderstorms that follow hot weather in July and August. So there really is kind of no panacea of weather unless maybe you're in the southeast of England and it's June, July, August, and you get more consistent sun. For everyone and everywhere else, you, you might get a nicer day in February than you do in July, and that's the truth. Things for you to consider. What I'd say is get in early. If you're watching this in February, March, or April, get in early, get a booking. It's our busiest time with the most inquiries. We do tend to take a deposit, just a small one, just to confirm your booking, just to avoid loss of cash and cash flow from late cancellations and postponements. So yeah, and just to reiterate and hammer home the point, best time of year to remove moss is as soon as you notice that it's an issue.